Hey guys, before we begin this podcast, let's get a word from our sponsor.
If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. Also, there are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer.
Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership.
Also, it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Hey, welcome back to the Inbound Podcast. Thanks for the support on the last video. We got 130 views on our first podcast, which is literally insane. We appreciate you guys. Dude, it is actually insane how someone can go from this high to this low within like a week.
I mean, that's the internet these days. 2021, it's been insane.
I mean, literally, David Dobrik lost so much within a week because of allegations. And it's like, dude, honestly, David Dobrik's kind of a jerk, in my opinion. I don't know about you.
I'm not a huge fan of him. I think you can tell by some of his behavior that, like, he just kind of he's the most vibrant personality in pretty much any room he's going to be in. And I think in many ways that can come off as very jerky.
I mean, there's like reading some of the stuff that came out about the sexual assault allegations. I mean, it's quite insane. I mean, besides, like, obviously those are girls who were too drunk to give consent, which should be a total red flag to not let your best friend have sex with them, because you know that is going to come out in the near future, and it's going to basically almost ruin your career. But there's other stuff. Like, I saw an article that there's like this guy named Nick. There's a guy named Nick who's born with dwarfism, and they would make stereotypical jokes about him, and he just talks about how he felt so uncomfortable around David Dobrik. And I'm like, I mean, this guy's kind of a jerk. I mean, I don't know what to say. He's kind of just an asshole. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I mean, he just seems so ignorant, and what's weird is that, like, first, he's been around for a long time. I haven't been a huge fan, again, similar to Adam, but, you know, I watch him from time to time, and it's weird is, like, he seemed to have a clean slate, you know, like, the next big thing in L.A., and just to be so ignorant, like with the dwarfism, you know, with Nick, and then this the kissing prank with Joe Seth, and then now the consent issues. I mean, it's just weird. Like, I just didn't expect that from David Dobrik.
It's to me, it's almost like you would have expected this to be happening for a long time, right? But maybe he's just been getting away with it, and now that it's, you know, the times have changed, it's starting to come forward. But I mean, some of this stuff is very weird, like the whole rape allegation against Dom is very peculiar. Just because, I mean, if you watch the video, maybe it's like a 4-minute and 30-second video, it doesn't really tell you what's going on because you can't tell how drunk the girls are. All you know is that David Dobrik is fucking fired up that his homie just got in a threesome with these two girls, and that's pretty much it. Everything else is basically from what the girls are alleging happened, that they were extraordinarily drunk. Like, one of them said they blacked out, and that they could not possibly have consented to this sex because they were simply far beyond the point of cognition. Basically.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was one of the girls or one of the vlog members, but it said that, like, her eyes were basically rolling to the back of their heads. I mean, you got to call it quits. I mean, I feel, honestly, this kind of reminds me of, like, Logan Paul back in, it was 2018 or 2017, where he did The Forest. I mean, he was, like, so high on views and getting as much attention as possible that he'll do anything to it. So he goes, films a dead body, obviously gets his career ruined. I kind of seeing the same thing like here. Like, David Dobrik is so high right now. He's got views on views on views. He's got his own app coming out, which he stepped down from, which was kind of insane, but I guess it makes sense for him to step down. But he's so high that he doesn't know anything but to go up. So he's just going to go deeper and deeper into doing stuff that just doesn't make any sense. And he just, I guess, wasn't able to find the limit of when to stop.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest problem with YouTubers, honestly, is that when you gain notoriety and, like, you know, you build your fame, or, you know, you build your whatever, you know, getting bigger and bigger, the thirst for fame increases tremendously, and it brings out the worst in you. Like, I think at their core, I think David Dobrik's a good person, and same thing with Logan Paul. But when you try to get views, you do dumb things, you do ignorant things just to get those views, get those clicks.
Here's my question. Do you guys think that he can bounce back from this? Because I know we've kind of transitioned to talking about Logan Paul and comparing him to Logan Paul and his incident with the suicide forest. But Logan Paul has kind of bounced back in a way. Like, he has his own podcast. He still has a YouTube channel. He's been doing boxing.
I mean, he's fighting the number one boxer in the world. Like,
Yeah.
come on, he definitely bounced back.
I mean, yeah, you can tell he's definitely bounced back. Do you guys think that somebody as big as David Dobrik and almost like a cult classic like David Dobrik can bounce back from where he is now, or basically getting canceled?
Yeah, I definitely think he can bounce back, but it's going to take a lot of work. I mean, you see, Logan Paul didn't really get respected until probably after a second boxing match with KSI.
I still don't respect him, but
I think the weirdest shit happened. Honestly, after that second fight, I swear, KSI knocked some sense into him. Like, literally, I mean, I did not like Logan Paul until after that, like, suddenly became a good person. I think, honestly, getting knocked out was the best thing to happen to him.
I mean,
losing that fight.
I mean, it humbled him.
For sure.
It was definitely a humbling moment. And I think David Dobrik is going through the exact same thing right now. And I think he will definitely be able to bounce back. It's going to take some time. I mean, we know he's a good person because you see he does all the giveaways. I mean, he gave away, 4 or 5 Teslas for his Dispo app. I mean, he's definitely a very good person inside, but he just got money hungry and view hungry that he literally would do anything to gain those views and gain that popularity. And it shows that things will come back and bite you. So he definitely needs to, I think what he's doing right now is he's taking a step back, realizing his mistakes. I mean, he seemed very apologetic in his last video that he posted. So I think people are starting to respect him a little bit more, but it will definitely take time for him to come back to where he was.
And I think, again, going back to Logan Paul, I think if Logan Paul can bounce back, like, at least David Dobrik didn't, like, single-handedly screw up. Like Logan Paul, it was just flat-out ignorance and just being a complete douchebag. Just to go and film that dead body, just blatant disrespect. Like, at least David Dobrik, like, it doesn't feel as bad. And if Logan Paul can bounce back in the way he did, like, he's bigger now than he was back then. I think David Dobrik absolutely will.
Well, I'm going to sort of disagree with something you said. You said that it wasn't as bad. I think having 2 girls being raped in one of your videos is pretty bad.
No, I just think that what I'm saying is that if David Dobrik was the one doing the sexual assault, then I think it would be different. But it's being being in the house,
associated with it.
Associated, like if Logan Paul was in Japan next to someone else, like let's say Jake Paul filmed it, I think this is kind of how that is. I think,
and I think this kind of transitions us to this other phase of this, which is how legitimate do you guys think these allegations are? Because I mean, obviously, it's been, the talk of the town on the internet and all that, but nothing has come forward legally yet in terms of Dom being essentially accused of rape. So how far do you guys think this is going to go legally? And will that back up David Dobrik being canceled and like reinforce that he should be canceled?
I'm honestly not sure, to be honest, because I think if it's a real rape that happened, I think legal action will be taken. Mm-hmm. However, I haven't seen anything. I don't know if you've seen anything.
I haven't seen anything, no.
So, I mean, I'm still on the border of whether I believe the girls or believe I says David seems to agree. Well, if the rape actually happened, but I'm like right now you have to take the word of the girls that were in that video. You can't take the side that they weren't actually raped. But I mean, I think there will need to be legal action to confirm it. And I don't know. Actually, do you think David Dobrik might be able to get charges put against him for basically like facilitating it? Ooh. I'm not 100% sure if that's an actual thing.
Not sure. But I think I agree with you, Ambrish. I think he's definitely at some form of fault at the very least. Making a video about it was not smart. And I mean, of course, he did take it down because there was so much hate for him on it. The only way to view it now is by looking up a re-uploaded video, which I did because it was pretty hard to find it. But yeah, he's definitely at fault in some way, shape, or form here. Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you, but I also, I mean, David did definitely facilitated this action, and it's kind of on the edge. So it's hard. I'm not actually sure how to really think about it. I gotta be honest. I'm not 100% sure how to think about it at the moment. So I'm kind of like in the middle on whether David should be canceled. I mean, he did lose a lot. I mean, he lost all of his sponsorships. He had to step down from his own app, which was honestly going to blow up because it was like basically like the new Instagram is what I was saying.
Yeah. I have a question. Do you guys think he deserved to lose all those sponsorships?
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, but yeah. I mean, he facilitated, he publicized it. I mean, the same thing happened to Logan. I mean, I think he lost his movie because of what he did in the forest. So
Right.
I think the same has to happen to Dobrik.
For me, it's like it depends on whether you're on the side of innocent until proven guilty or guilty until proven innocent. And of course, this would be an example of guilty to until proven innocent because I mean he's been canceled. As you said, he's lost all his sponsorships. I don't know, honestly. I think, as I said, he's definitely at some form of fault for uploading this video. Then these girls come forward, accuse him and his friend Dom of sexual assault or rape. It's just kind of sad to me, honestly. I don't really have an opinion on whether he should have had those consequences, but it's kind of sad that somebody can get so big and provide millions of people with enjoyment in the way that he does, and then he just gets everything taken away. But as we've also talked about, he's gonna be back. He's not gone forever.
Yeah.
He's gonna be back.
100%.
I mean, Logan Paul bounced back. So I don't know how much he deserved it. Like, I think if David and Dom flipped, I think it's a different story. But I agree with the companies. Like, if I'm DoorDash, like, DoorDash is a big enough company. They can just, like, there's so many influencers out there. Just go pick a different influencer.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they did the right thing. I think it kind of sucks for David, but I think he deserves it. And it'll really teach him a lesson, I think.
Yeah, it's a PR move. It's a PR move
exactly.
because you don't want to associate someone who has rape allegations against them. So
Mm-hmm.
it was smart by the companies. I mean, I feel bad for the guy, sort of. But it is what it is. He'll come back. He'll definitely come back. I don't see how he can't come back.
As we get into our next segment, we want to remind you to like, smash that subscribe button, and hammer that notification bell on YouTube at The Inbound Podcast.
Also, don't forget to follow us on all of our socials and on Spotify, and that is found in the description below.
If you have any recommendations for a future podcast, please comment on any of our accounts.
Deshaun Watson needs to get his stuff together. Let's be honest. He's going insane.
Yeah, I mean, to start off, he wants out of Houston and that whole dilemma, wanting to be traded. And then also with the whole, serial predator case coming out with the massage parlor, 16 women coming out. I think that's the number right now. So I think we should start off with like the more lighter sports-related topic. So how do you guys feel about him wanting to leave Houston, the team he was drafted to and the team he leads?
I mean, the Houston Texans screwed him over. I mean, they got rid of basically their whole defense. They got rid of their star running back and their star wide receiver and DeAndre Hopkins and David Johnson. So now what does he have left? Literally nothing.
Here's my thing. I think Deshaun Watson is a little bitch, and before you guys react, I think he's a little bitch because other quarterbacks have dealt with similar, maybe not quite as extreme instances without pulling an NBA and saying, I need a fucking trade right now. I need a fucking trade. I think he's being a little bitch, and I know there are a lot of people on both sides that some people are like, we support him, free Deshaun, we need to get Deshaun out, and others, like myself, are more on the side of, shut the fuck up, you are a millionaire who is extremely talented and plays football for a living, and like even though you got fucking screwed, you're still just like play football. Like nobody needs to buy you out, nobody needs to trade you, and now that these sexual assault allegations are coming out, I don't think he's ever going to be able to fucking get out.
Yeah, I do. I got to strongly disagree with you. This guy's dude. Deshaun Watson's someone who wants to win. Okay, he wants to win. He's a competitor. He won, I think, 2 championships with Clemson. He wants to win, and the Texans aren't giving him the opportunity to win. So of course he's gonna want out of Houston. He wants to win, and the
Right.
Houston's aren't preparing him to win. He wants to win a Super Bowl. Okay, I honestly send him to the Lions, dude. I'll take him at the Lions. Let's be honest.
Here's the thing, though. Not like he started saying he won't play, right? How can you go so far and have so much hatred for your own organization that you say you just won't play? Like what does that gain? Like what do you gain from that by saying you're not going to play?
I disagree. I mean, he's already in the NFL. He's tore his ACL. I think the NFL is different from any other sport, essentially, especially in America, that you don't know in one snap, in one play, you can lose your whole career.
Right.
And why risk it on a team that has screwed you over? You went to the playoffs, and then your team got scrapped. You have no one left, no hope, no cap space. And I think he's just trying to salvage his career.
That's actually a really good point. I get that he wants to try and salvage his career, and the fact that it could end at any point brings up the idea that, you know, he might have limited time. He's already had some limited time because he tore his ACL. I just don't. My problem is I just don't think this is the way to go about it, because they basically said they weren't going to trade him. So just saying you're not going to play and then basically voiding your contract, it's just I just don't like it. I don't like it as a move. I think you should always be willing to play the game that you love. I know if I was as talented as he was, I would be out there on the field playing. And that's just my opinion personally. It might be a good career move, as you guys are bringing up. I just don't like it. And also, I think we can kind of relate this back to the idea of the sexual assault allegations, because I just read this article that says the Texans actually planned to trade him before these allegations came forward, which brings almost a new aspect to it. Like, I think he's just kind of fucked now.
So you think he won't play anymore?
Maybe. If he's not willing to play for the Texans, he might just not play.
I disagree. I think that, and I think this is a big problem with professional sports, is that a player of his caliber can get away with shit like that. There's a team out there that's desperate enough for a star like him.
The
that
Lions.
Will do whatever. The Lions. Yeah, maybe, you know, another team is the Panthers. I know they've done whatever they could to try and get him, but I think he's right, and I think he's had his problems, and I don't know if this is the best way to go about it, but I think, like, imagine you're at a job. Like, imagine you're, you know, doing accounting, whatever, and you hate your boss and you hate the people you work with. You don't just shut up and just sit there and keep working. You'd want to go and look for another job opportunity. And I think it's kind of the same thing, just on a larger scale.
I think that makes so what you're saying is you think, regardless of the fact that the Texans said they won't trade him, they've now said they won't trade him again because they're like, oh, we were bluffing. We were actually planning to trade him. You think some team is so desperate that they're going to convince the Texans to trade him?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's a move to increase his value. And I think no one of his caliber, a young top 3 quarterback in the league, has ever hit the trade market. That's never happened before. I think a team will go and say, here, take my next 12 first-round picks.
Right.
Because you can't find a player of his caliber. I think maybe take my next 2 drafts, 1 through 7. So I think shit like that's going to happen.
I think you got the Matthew Stafford mentality of put up and shut up, because he was in the worst organization in the National Football League for 9 years, and he finally got his asylum to go to Los Angeles, where he's being treated like a king. And I think you have that exact same mentality with Deshaun Watson. Just put up and shut up and make some racks.
That pretty much does define what I'm saying, because, I mean, that's part of the reason why I love Matthew Stafford so much. Not because he put up and shut up, but because he, you know, was very dedicated to Detroit. He was great for the city. He and his wife did all kinds of stuff for the city. They got into charities related to Detroit, did all that kind of stuff. And my problem is I'm just seeing Deshaun do this stuff, and I don't like to put it like put up and shut up, but I guess that is kind of what I'm saying. Like, I feel like you should be more dedicated to your fan base, and he's clearly not doing that.
I don't think it's a fan base thing. He's done a shit ton for the city of Houston.
Right.
I think it's just he's tired of the organization essentially screwing him over. And I think he's seen what Matthew Stafford has gone through, 12 years of no one around you outside of Kelvin Johnson. And eventually, Stafford's just getting beat up, and no one in the media is talking about him. And he's basically irrelevant. People see him as an average quarterback, and I think that'll eventually happen to Deshaun Watson. He won't win anything, and eventually the star power, I think, will slowly fade away. And he doesn't want that to happen.
So that makes a lot of sense. He's basically saying, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be Matt. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. In that case, maybe it is a good career move. I mean, I guess you're right. Who the fuck really wants to be Matthew Stafford at this point? Pretty much nobody, because he's basically just gotten a gift from God after having his entire career wasted on the Lions.
Yeah, Dan Campbell literally saved his career because he wasn't going to win anything with the Lions at this point. So now at least he has a chance, and I'm happy for him. Honestly, I'm probably going to get that jersey of him on the Rams.
That's it. Absolutely.
And
Man, I just want a jersey of him on the Lions, dude.
But I mean, I have to side with Anthony on this one. I think Deshaun Watson needs to get out of Houston. I mean, Houston screwing him over. And, yeah, he's one of the best players in the National Football League. So, and, like, even with, like, these allegations, I don't think it's going to affect his career that much. But
Right.
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I think you're right. I think, as Anthony said, I think that's a really good perspective. Like, this has happened before. Like, this is obviously not the first time a football player has done some dumbass shit. I mean, there's obviously not even, innocent until proven guilty. Nothing has even been brought forward as to the truth
these are
of
just
it
allegations.
or not. They're just allegations. Anything can happen at this point. And even if he does get convicted of something, of even a small percentage of those, he'll probably still be fine.
If you think he gets drafted, where do you find him going to? Just we'll put this. We'll just throw this wild dart out there. Where do you think he's going to?
Carolina. They've been clearing cap space the past couple months. They have the draft picks. They have Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, he's going to Carolina.
Don't think they're going to rock with Teddy Bridgewater?
Bro, hell no.
I mean, he got injured last year.
Teddy Bridgewater is trash.
You think he got lucky with the Saints?
I think anyone with Sean Payton's lucky. Okay. So
you don't think Drew Brees is a good quarterback?
Let me take a step back. I like Teddy Bridgewater, and I went too far by saying he's trash. I think he's like Andy Dalton plus, where he's like, he can win you like 8 games, and he doesn't have a great arm. But if you really want to win, what the fuck are you doing with Teddy Bridgewater? You can't win. You're like stuck in mediocrity.
Yeah,
with Teddy Bridgewater.
But I mean, he went 5-0 with the Saints.
Yes, because he was on the Saints.
Yeah, but okay, they have a better defense. So maybe if the Panthers just build up their defense, use that cap space to build up their defense, you don't think that they can make a run for it?
They also went 4-1 with a tight end at quarterback.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Brish. You were like, so you think Drew Brees is bad? I think the Saints for the past couple years have been like the Broncos with Peyton Manning for like the last 2 years of his career, literally carrying his ass to the Super Bowl. Carrying that motherfucker. I don't think Drew Brees has been great. I think he's had a really, really star receiving core to pass to. And, of course, you have Sean Payton, one of the most absolutely brilliant minds in the NFL.
He's probably the best offensive coach in the NFL.
I think you're right.
I mean, you saw what you know when LSU had Joe Burrow for his final year, Sean Payton worked with that offense, and it was probably the best offense we've seen in college football.
Yeah, I know Joe Brady was their offensive coordinator, and he was with the Saints for a while. So, I mean, they obviously know what they're doing down in NOLA.
Thank you guys so much for watching the second episode of the Inbound Podcast. Make sure to follow all of our links in the description, subscribe, and check us out on Spotify. And don't forget to check out our sponsor, Anchor, and we'll see you next weekend.
I'm a young Spanish nigga from the projects. I'm gon' make it, who gon' stop it?